Good morning, YouTube. Well, the old farmer thought that you might be interested in seeing how I do my part of my canning. He wanted me to do it yesterday, and I was just up to my eyeballs in tomatoes and everything else that I thought, well, I'll kind of explain it. One of these days when I figure out how to do it, do a little bit better, I'll go through my whole process and show you. Right now, all I have is my iPhone 7. So we'll just go with that for now. And that's why I had to upload an onion video. I had done a couple of them, but honestly, I just haven't had the time right now to sit down and figure out how to link all that. First of all, I'll follow up on the onions. These onions here are what I ended up saving, and they are literally all across the front of my deck. Those are the larger bulb onions. They go clear back over there. I'll probably let these, not probably, I will, at least 4 to 5 weeks, if not longer. And then I haven't decided yet if I'm going to hang them to store, or I do have onion bags. I'll probably do that. I got some nice sized ones. This one here is probably about the size of a softball, and I've got the majority of them are about this size, the bigger ones. And then, as I said, I dehydrated. I think I had four full dehydrators going. And this is what I ended up with my dehydrated. Of course, there's my iPad. That's what I do when I'm canning. These are diced onions. And I sliced a bunch of onions with my, let's see, that's a Vidalia onion chopper, and that's a mandolin slicer. I sliced them thin, and when they were done, these actually taste just like those French's fried onion rings that you buy. Pretty expensive for a little bitty can. No, they're not fried, they're just dehydrated, so they're really good though, crispy, so I thought they'd be great in salads and use any other way. This is regular onion powder. These are all quart jars. And yes, I think I've told you before, we go through a lot of onions. And what I did is I just run this through. One of these days I'll show you how I make my powders. But I've bought some little coffee grinders, the individual size. I buy those when I can find them really cheap at Nebraska Furniture Mart. For Black Friday, they had them for $3. So I think I have 3 or 4 of those little coffee grinders, and I use them for spices and that. These are my green onions, and I'll use those like chives or any of that other. And then this is dehydrated green onion powder, and that's a pint jar. I have found that it's just a different flavor, and they're not quite as strong as regular onions. So then we picked our first batch of tomatoes. This pot here, it's a turkey fryer pot. I don't know how many gallons. Anyway, it was full, almost full to the top with tomatoes. And what I do is I washed my tomatoes, and they sat in here. And then for those of you that can tomatoes, you need to take the skins off. Or you don't have to, but it does make for a better product. And I had this big pot going. It wasn't this one, but I had another big stock pot going on the big fryer there. That's the turkey fryer base. And that was with boiling water. Then over here I had another pot of the cold water. And then I had some great big stainless bowls with lids. So I would dip them in the hot water, bring them over here, put them in the cool water, and skin them, clean them up, any bad spots, and put them into the bowl. And then I think I filled 3 large stainless bowls and brought those in, went back in the house to put everything in the jars, and packed my jars, put a little lemon juice. You need to do that to make sure that the acidity is up, because I don't pressure can my tomatoes, I water bath. I should pressure can, it doesn't take as long. But these are what I used for my water bath. And I have a little, I don't know, oh, it's an Ozark Trail camping stove. This is my outdoor kitchen, and I use it a lot. Yesterday there was no wind, and the temperatures were actually pretty nice, only in the mid to upper 80s. So it was nice working out here. But I ended up with, 7 plus 5, 12 quarts of tomatoes. 2 didn't seal. That's a-okay with me because I love my home canned tomatoes for making salsa. So I went in this morning, took those 2 that didn't seal, made a half-gallon thing of salsa, and we use salsa on everything. I have just found that the salsa tastes better if I don't can it. I just make it throughout the year as we need it. And I'm hoping that I can get, seriously, at least 50 or 60 quarts of tomatoes. We go through that many tomatoes. And we'll see. Sometimes I dehydrate tomatoes and sometimes I make tomato powder. I have a little bit of both left over from last year, but we'll just have to see how the year goes. So far the crop looks good. I've got my onions. All my onions are pulled. My carrots are all harvested. Got a lot of those canned and a lot dehydrated. And I've actually got some pumpkins. I'll have to show you that. Here's a few of my pumpkin. These are my little sugar baby for pumpkin pie. And I had one of the bigger ones. I cut them all back so I wouldn't get so many pumpkin. I probably got that many more sugar babies out there. And I think there's 4 or 5 of the larger ones. I'm just going to give those to the neighborhood kids. So other than that, I've got tomatoes and peppers left. And of course my sweet potatoes, those will be the last to get harvested. If anybody has any suggestions on what to do with my peppers, I've got an exceptional crop this year. I'd sure be welcome to hear anybody that does food preservation. I usually dehydrate them. I don't like them frozen because they're so soggy. But any suggestions? I'd be open to it. Anybody ever can peppers? I don't like the pickled peppers so much, but maybe there's a way I can get around that. Thanks, guys.